Okay, we're in the control panel of the Internet Worm Maker Thing version 4. And basically what this will do for us is create or help create a worm that will replicate itself and go all over the place and do some malicious things. Basically what you see is what you get. This is actually not too complicated to use. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory, but we'll go over some of the options. First we can hit the About Me, and you can figure out that's who invented this. And obviously he's not giving up too much information about himself there. Kind of cute. Little message there is. Now, we can put in here a worm name, and I'm just going to type in VTC. And author is Bobby. And version, we can call it version 1. And message, this is only a test. And we can include a copyright notice if we wanted to, like a worm's copyrighted, I guess. Compile to exe support. Then we have some spreading options here. On startup, do we want to hit the global registry startup or the local registry startup? When log on shell hook, start as a service, or which language to start up with? Now, as far as payloads go, we can activate the payload on a certain date. And we could also randomly activate the payload, so it just happens whenever. We could also say the chance of activating payload is 1 in, say, I don't know, 11. So every 11th or 12th time the payload would activate, possibly. Hide all the drives, disable the task manager, disable the keyboard and mouse, flash up a message box, possibly, an icon to go with it. And you could select critical icons for the message box, possibly, and we'll type in like warning and message you have been hacked. We could disable the registry editor, disable Explorer. We could change the registered owner of the box and the registered organization. We can change the home page to a URL that we want. We can do other things like disable Windows security, disable Norton security. So you can actually disable and affect antiviruses with this worm creator. We can disable macro security, disable the run command, shut down, log off, Windows update, all kinds of things here, all kinds of fun things. We can change Internet Explorer's title bar. We can change the Windows Media Player text, open CD drives, lock the workstation. We can even download a file, specify the URL that we're downloading from, save it as a particular file, and then execute it. Pretty cool stuff, huh? We can print messages. We can have some fun with Outlook, mute the speakers, delete files, delete folders, change the wallpaper. Again, all kinds of cool stuff. And some of this can be just fun, but some of it can be very destructive. And a lot of these options are designed to prevent a user from A, detecting the worm exists, and B, stopping it once it executes and starts. And really, it can be used to take control away from them of their machine, so that we may use another type of malware like a Trojan to assume control and turn it into a botnet, or execute a payload in this worm that will make it a member of a botnet. So we can change the time and date if we want. We can loop sounds, hide the desktop, disable malware remove, disable Windows file protection, corrupt the antivirus. Again, all kinds of interesting things. And hackers actually do these things to create these files to do this. Infection options, BAT, VBS, or VBE files. We can even make a blue screen of death occur. We click the plugins box. There's no plugins loaded. We could load one, but would have to have one on the box. Here's a sample plugin we can use. So we can load it, say OK, and write custom code. And we could put the custom code in here as well. So that's the Internet Worm Maker Thing version 4. And again, very simplistic. And there are other worm makers, other programs that will do this as well. And it's curious that most of the cool programs like this that create Trojans and worms and viruses are Windows-based programs. You can do this in Linux, but it probably requires writing some code. And there are some tools out there for Linux that probably do exist for this. But keep in mind that a lot of the viruses, worms, and Trojans that are designed in fact for Windows. You don't see a lot of people creating malware for Linux. That's not to say it doesn't exist, although Linux users will tell you different. There is some malicious scripts out there for Linux. and some malicious compiled code. However, it's very rare. So it only makes sense that most of these creators, these programs that create viruses, worms, and Trojans would be Windows-based programs, since they are creating mostly stuff to infect Windows with. So interesting stuff. But that's an example of a worm maker. Again, there's other examples out there, so this is a good example of one.